Back in 2019, as our family trip for that summer, we decided to go to St. Louis. We hit a couple of locations like the zoo and even attempted to go to the City Museum, but failed. Overall, the trip was very fun, but it was during that era when I didn't like trains, so I didn't go to any of the train related destinations around the city. Fast forward to 2024, a whole 5 years later, still can't believe it's been that long, and we were planning to go to, well, Dearborn, to hit up the Henry Ford Museum up there. Unfortunately, we learned right before we were about to leave that the outdoor exhibits weren't open until mid-April, which means that we couldn't do basically half the museum. So we decided instead to scrap that idea and go back to St. Louis for our 2024 family trip. This time, it was spring break, not during summer. There was one destination, though, that I knew I had to hit: the National Museum of Transportation. One of the largest railroad museums out there, and I know I say that for every large railroad museum, it's still true. This museum has even more stuff in it than the IRM and Steamtown do. I just didn't realize that because, well, it's the Transportation Museum, not the Railway Museum. But if we're going to be honest, it should really be called the National Railway Museum because like 90% of the stuff in there is trains. Anyways, this is how that trip went. On March 24th, we woke up early at the house and raced into the car and got out of there as soon as we could. We needed to leave for St. Louis soon, as it was going to rain for the next 2 days, or so we thought, and so we needed to hit the mostly outdoor transportation museum today. We headed down the road until eventually we approached Portage. Once we arrived in Portage, we got out of my mom's car and we traded. I headed over into my aunt's car while my cousin headed into my mom's car. At the gas station in Porter, there was this old control point which still had the Conrail Blue 243 on it. After we got situated, we headed straight down through Illinois towards St. Louis. This drive was mostly uneventful, but there were a few awesome sights to see along the way. The first was this massive quarry with an interstate bridge crossing right over it. And then this impressive bridge crossing the Des Plaines River. Midway through the trip, we had to go to the bathroom, so we stopped at Wally's, and there was these military vehicles parked outside in the parking lot. After departing, we passed by a large field of wind turbines, quite an impressive sight. And then we got stuck in traffic. A car had flipped over and fallen into the small gap between the two roads, so the traffic was held up for a bit and we had to wait for it to get through. Then we approached Springfield and saw our first train of the trip. This was a Union Pacific intermodal train. The shot is pretty backlit, but then again, this was an improvised one from the car. Unlike most trains we see on road trips, though, this one actually stuck around long enough for us to see the motive power. Leading the train was a UP Ace, and second in trail was a Phase 2-9. Pretty good lash up. The train still hadn't calmed down. Before we could leave Springfield, we got held up by this other intermodal. Probably Union Pacific as well, considering it was on that line. Unfortunately, this train did not stick around for us to see the power, nor did it have a DPU at the rear. After leaving Springfield, we passed over this river that I'm not sure which one it is. Saw this plane flying through the sky, too far away to tell which aircraft it is. And we passed over this measly little tributary that I thought was the Mississippi River. Oh boy, yeah, I was being dumb right now. Then, we rolled over the real Mississippi River. Now we were in Missouri. This was a really surreal experience, seeing all the crazy highways leading into St. Louis. Soon enough, we pounded over Missouri's namesake river, the Missouri River, and caught a glimpse of a Southwest 737, which we'd be seeing a lot of at our hotel. Speaking of that hotel, almost immediately after we pounded over the river, we turned into the parking lot of our destination, Embassy Suites Hotel. But there was one massive, annoying problem. We had arrived at around 2:40 p.m. The National Museum of Transportation closed at 4 p.m., and they didn't let anyone in after 3 p.m. By the time we got there, we wouldn't be allowed in. So we decided to just chill at the hotel for the rest of the day. It sucked, but hey. We re-looked at the forecast, and Tuesday wasn't supposed to be that bad. I mean, it was going to be cold, windy, and suck, but it wasn't going to be raining, so that was good. So we decided to reschedule the Transportation Museum trip for Tuesday. In the meantime, we headed over to Cracker Barrel for dinner. It was a really short drive away from the hotel. They had these outdoor checkers boards, which we had a lot of fun playing on. We actually bought mobile checkers from inside Cracker Barrel and took that back to the hotel to play later. We also played some games of Roblox. Anyways, I lost every single checkers game I played, so that was super awesome. After that, went to bed and prepared for the next day of epic adventuring. On day 2, it was time to do not train stuff. Since it was too cold and rainy to go to the zoo, we decided to go to the indoor aquarium instead. Funnily enough, the aquarium was located inside Union Station. Yes, really. They turned it into an aquarium and general tourist destination after it shut down for passengers in the 70s. The journey was once again uneventful, aside from pacing the Southwest 737 and getting to pass by the zoo, which we weren't able to go to, and getting over to pass this Union Pacific yard, which had a train entering it with a AC-44 rebuild in first and a Gevo in second. Then we arrived at Union Station and got out to get a picture of the aquarium sign. After paying the frankly absurd entrance fee, we headed into the aquarium and headed into a room with a lot of flashing lights. After we left there, we realized that, well, we had to board a train to get into the aquarium. This train, in air quotes, was just a little exhibit with screens which showed a bunch of cool stuff, like underwater, fish, and other general stuff. The windows were screens, which allowed for this effect. Honestly, it was a pretty cool way to enter the aquarium. Oh, and apparently the train could teleport, so that was cool. These exhibits didn't really interest me much since they weren't actual fish, aside from the humpback whales because, well, there aren't really any humpback whales in aquariums for obvious reasons. Once we got out of that, we headed into the actual aquarium section with the live animals. And oh boy, was it fun.
How did you do it? How did you find the rice? It's not so simple.
Chunky fish. Chunky fish. Chunky fish. Hello. Hi.
They have 95% shooting accuracy.
You're not supposed to be here. This is an aquarium. Newt. 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 Got blue lobster.
Oh God, no, clobber.
Remember the milk frog. Stingray is trying to escape. I don't know who Tube Dude is. Oh, it's Tube Dude. Tube Dude. Leopard shark?
Who's the big guy on the ground?
That's a fish shark.
He's coming. There he is. Leopard shark, I think, or nurse shark maybe. Or zebra shark. You look so funny. Lionfish. Lionfish.
Touch them.
Lionfish. Lionfish. Trying to, they'll poison you and you'll die. Guys, look. Jelly belly. Get it? Following that, we headed over to the City Museum, which was only 3 minutes away by car. This museum is not really a museum. It's difficult to describe. It's a huge mess, basically, but in a good way. It's like a giant jungle gym, basically. The problem with it, for me at least, was that everything was too tight. The spaces were too tight. Like, I'm not even claustrophobic or anything. Like, I couldn't barely fit through these. And yeah, it was probably designed for smaller kids, but the crap in this museum, like a giant ramp which goes up like 150 feet above the rooftop of the building, which is already 10 stories. It's ridiculous. I just don't understand who this museum is for. Smaller kids won't like it because it's too ridiculously terrifying, and older kids like me can't fit through it. So, who is it for? The main thing I found interesting at this museum was the bugs, because I like bugs, and these were really cool. I'm hoping my own insect collection will grow as big as this one day. Anyways, I felt like I was about to die after going through the City Museum, so I needed to head back to the Hotel Stat. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because my cousins and aunts were in the cave exhibit down on floor 1 of the City Museum. So, we waited and filmed these paddlefish in the meantime. While we were doing that, my brother, me, and my mom got separated, and so did me and my cousin and my aunt, and it was just a complete debacle. Eventually, we all got together and left the City Museum to head back to the aquarium, where we picked up my grandma and grandpa. And while we were leaving, we realized there were trains here. I mean, I guess it is Union Station. We headed over to take some pictures of them. First off was Washington Terminal 738. Or, not really. Actually, all of the cars here were designated for RPCX. There was this Frisco Cimarron River, this strange-looking military-esque coach, a Baltimore and Ohio livery Pullman presidential car. Here you can see the RPCX reporting marks. RPCX must be the Union Station Company. There's also this end car, the Polar Express end car. Apparently, this Polar Express equipment, which is used for some sort of Polar Express train in the winter, I'd assume, is stored here during the summer months. There's also these weird-looking modern Amtrak coaches, which I don't know why they were sold off to here, but okay. And these trams that were probably used in the aquarium at some point, judging by their paint scheme. On the way out, we passed by this massive Union Pacific yard. There were no freight trains moving in the yard, sadly, but that wasn't it, because from the aquarium I had spotted an Amtrak P-42 Genesis stopped in the yard. I have no idea why it was there, but I had my aunt pull into the parking lot of Build-A-Bear, where my brother got out and got this photo of Amtrak number 58 sitting in the yard. After that, we drove back from Union Station to the hotel, and along the way we caught a glimpse of this metro train, basically St. Louis's version of the CTA. The paint scheme is really good, and I like the design of the cars. Too bad these were the only photos we got of them. Oh, and Metro Bus. After the trip home, we headed to Gingham's Homestyle Restaurant for a nice dinner. And after that, we went back to the hotel and did basically nothing for the entire rest of the night. Aside from checkers and Roblox, like usual. Then we went to bed. Now it was Tuesday. Time for the main event of the trip, at least for me. Probably not everyone else. That morning, I finally got to sleep in for the first time on the trip, and once I woke up, we crammed all of our stuff into the cars and then headed to the Transportation Museum. As always, the journey was uneventful. But we were only going a short distance, so I guess that makes sense.
Here we are!
Wait, they have the aero train?
They have the Aero Train!
Oh, I thought it was a turbo train.
Oh my god, here we are. Oh my god. National Museum of Transportation.
I don't see many aircraft.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, I see UPS.
Wabash!
Oh, I see an aircraft.
Look, there's a mini train.
Mini train.
Welp, here we were, the National Museum of Transportation. The first thing we did was go into the main building so that we could actually, pay to enter. Inside that main building, they had a few cool exhibits, like this model railway layout, running the most evil-looking Thomas you've ever seen, the Lionel Thomas. They also had the airline exhibit, mainly focused on McDonnell Douglas, with two of my favorite aircraft, the DC-10 and MD-11. They also had this USRA-282 in O gauge. Whatever the heck this monstrosity excuse of a train is. And finally, Amtrak 66 in the 40th Anniversary Heritage Scheme. After we paid and looked at all the exhibits, we headed out to the tracks. And we got a pass from the mini train. This is made of the C.P. Huntington zoo locomotive, or at least I like to call it that because it seems to be at every zoo ever, and 3 coaches. This is narrow gauge, and yeah, it's a steam outline locomotive. Afterwards, we headed to the actually important part of the museum. The trains! Starting with this BN caboose, which has seen better days. The Milwaukee Road General American URTX Reefer. What? And then we headed into this building, because apparently you have to go through this to get to the main train exhibits. They had this die-cast Burlington Zephyr, this G-gauge, possibly even bigger, Civil War 440, and this HO layout, starting with Santa Fe 99 and 040 switcher, and they also had this passenger train pulled by a Burlington Northern SW switcher. and a freight pulled by the ever-iconic Warbonnet F7. They also had a TV, which is playing this cool clip of a Rio Grande GP60 helping an Amtrak train. Once we finally got through that building and inside the fence, we walked down to the front of this giant line of cars. On the way, we snapped a picture of this tanker and then headed for the front for the main event. Chicago and Illinois Midland 551, which is a 282 Mikado. Then we realized it would be best to tackle the exhibits from the rear, so we headed back and there was another model railway outside. This time with a very cursed Warbonnet Jeep. And a small 040 tank engine. Then we finally headed into the actual, main exhibits in this area. Starting with this Mopac caboose. And Georgia 724. Now, this locomotive is interesting because one half of it is rainbow and the other half is normal. The rainbow segment is designed to show people the different components of a steam engine without having to split it in half, which I think is a really good idea. Here is the diagram showing what each color represents. There's also this Burlington route coach, which is very disgusting, along with the Pioneer Zephyr, number 9908, named Silver Charger. Here we see Frisco Russian Decapod 1621, and if you look down in the corner there, you can see they're setting up scaffolding. According to them, they're repainting the front of this locomotive, which is really cool. As you can see, the paint is starting to peel on the smoke box there, so good move. Sabie, River, and Northern 408. No, I still don't know how to tell EMD switches apart. Baltimore and Ohio 50, one of the earliest box cab diesel demonstrators. And the Rail Whale, the biggest tank car ever made. And it never even entered service. New York Central S Motor 113. Milwaukee Road EP2 Bipolar E2. Ah, the EP2s. Oh, how great they were. Until they weren't. City of St. Louis Water Division Switcher. United States Army 242 Side Rod Switcher. Quite odd. After we looked at all of that, we headed over to this area where the locomotives were shielded underneath a building. Here we have Canadian National 5529, a tram numbered 10 with no reporting marks. This tram usually operates, but not on weekdays, which, became on Tuesdays, so it wasn't operating. CTA 44 in a patriotic bicentennial scheme. A much better photo of CN 5529 from the other side. LIM&S 460 635. This tram, numbered 1743, my cousin really likes this one for some reason. Illinois Terminal Class C 1595 electric locomotive. A MR&BT hand car. Amtrak GG1 4916, still wearing the old Penn Central black livery. You can see the paint is pretty worn. I don't know why Amtrak didn't just repaint the GG1s, they did so much work patching them anyways. Chicago and Northwestern 440, this one's very rusty. And the star of the show down here, although it's also pretty rusty. Pennsylvania Railroad P5 number 4700, the last remaining one in the world. Missouri, Kansas, Texas, 311. Now we see some of the items in storage. There's not much information about these, so bear with me. There's a Lima Hamilton box cab switcher, an MBTA Bud car, this unidentifiable 060 diesel switcher, National Cash Register 040 South Park, yes, you read that correctly, Union Electric number 2, and a maybe used to be wasp striped GP9. And here we see 2156. This engine is the most powerful steam locomotive in preservation. It's an N&W Y6A built in-house at the Roanoke shops. After its very short service career with N&W, hauling coal trains, mainly working as a helper and sometimes a leader, he was retired and sent to the Transportation Museum. Here you can see some of the only footage of it in operation, with an Atlantic coastline painted diesel set passing it, a view from the front platform, a view after the person on the front platform has got off and is watching the engine push the coal train up the hill, and a relatively normal view of it leading a coal train. Then we headed over to another building. This one contained a lot of locomotives and cars. Some were outside and some were inside, like MRLX 801102, United States Army B2069, which can change gauges, this PYKE crane number 3033, a Chicago and Northwestern Atlantic number 1015, this very, very rusty steeple cab, U.S. Army 2002, another early EMD switcher, a CarTrax logo. This is a very early form of barcode. Aww, look at this cute little diesel. He's so small. Another tram. This one is in way worse condition than the other one. This is 1140. Now we take a look at the indoor exhibits. Well, kinda indoor. Starting with DM and IR 2102, number 502. Here's Illinois Central Consolidation 764. Terminal Railroad Association of St. Louis 080-318. Chesapeake and Ohio Kiwanis 2727. An EMD FT demonstrator. This here, 103, was one of the first, if not the first, freight diesel locomotive in the United States and sparked dieselization. It's just crazy to think about. The trains today all started with this one locomotive. Here's Illinois Central Black Diamond, an inspection car. Wabash Mogul 573, the last surviving Wabash locomotive. Union Pacific 2804, this is a early GE U-boat. As you can see, the long hood definitely exists. Here's a Mopac coach. And then, one of the volunteers offered to give us a tour of inside one of the trains. There were 3 coaches we went inside. The first one was a presidential car, the second one was a regular business class coach, and the last one was a commuter car. You can definitely see the amount of luxury declining as we get further into the train. After that, we got to see Lackawanna 952, possibly the last surviving camel locomotive. Illinois Terminal The Dinky, come on, you can't not love it. This is Daniel Nason, no idea what railroad it's from, but it's old. Here's Santa Fe 5011, a massive 210-4. And here's New York Central 2933, The only New York Central locomotive short of $9.99 that was actually donated by them to a museum. Because, you know, Alfred E. Perlman.
Boys, where on earth is that last Mohawk? I want it destroyed. Sir, don't you have anything else to do? I told you that we're looking for the last steam engine. We'll let you know where it's at. Yeah, again, I don't even know what a steam engine is. Barry, please stop saying that. I want it in pieces, shreds. Every last remnant of steam technology on this railway must be obliterated.
Here's Erie Lackawanna SD45 3607. Mopac RS3 4502. American Steel Foundries 8, a GE center cab switcher. Nickel Plate 170. What an amazing looking locomotive you are. Possibly my favorite at the Transportation Museum. Here is a Forney. This one is numbered 9. Remember it, it'll be important later. Oh, what did I say about 170? Here's my actual favorite locomotive. The ever underrated and super awesome SP GS6 4460. Man, I love these things so much. Here's Arkansas and Missouri RS3 number 22. A front-on view of the 318. Burlington Route 9939A and E8. Oh, it's Frisco 1522. Oh boy. Perhaps the most iconic and universally loved locomotive at the Transportation Museum. But if I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like 1522 all that much. It's just a mountain. It might have operated in preservation, but I don't know, I don't really care for it. But what I do care for is this. Alton and Southern number 12. Because it's an 080, and I just like 080s. Oh, the main show, huh? This is Big Boy 4006, or 4006. Again, I still haven't figured out how to pronounce it. Anyways, I had no idea this thing had gotten a repaint, so I expected it to look a lot worse. Next to it was this Union Pacific rotary snowplow. Man, I feel like I've been here before. Oh, a Centennial. And I actually get proper photos of it this time. Man, 2022 me was such an idiot. Anyways, yeah, this is 6944, a UP DDA 40X. Here is Cotton Belt Maintenance of Way Snowplow number 95589. And after that, we had covered everything over there, so we headed into the parking lot, where, I'm not even going to pronounce that. Number 2 was sitting on a small piece of track. And then we headed over from that to another field, and there's a boat. There's a boat here. They dragged a boat here. That is serious dedication. Oh, and, this is the Douglas C47A Skytrain. And then we were supposed to meet up with our family at the train station.
We missed the train. Where's everyone else at?
Oh!
Wow, we're...
How would we just wait for them to come to us?
Yeah. Let's just call them.
While we were waiting for them to come to us, we captured this little video of the train, which we were going to ride, pulling into the station. Soon enough, we boarded the train, got situated, and with a toot of its very fake whistle, the locomotive pulled out of the station. The first important thing we passed by was the Aero train. This was the only decent view I got of it on the entire trip, as I didn't walk over there to take photos.
It was used in youth camps to take oil field workers to and from their work sites. And that caboose.
There's also this bus on rails, which I don't know why it's on rails, and a Mopat caboose. Here we can see the backup CP Huntington locomotive, currently out of service, as well as another bus. It's the Transportation Museum. They gotta cover everything. Soon after, the train passed over this bridge, creatively made out of an old turntable. On the other side of the lake, there were two aircraft. One was a Lockheed T-33 Shooting Star, and the other was an F-18 Super Hornet. I'm not really a plane guy, so thanks to my brother for filling me in on what these are.
Later, airport pilot. And except you see a little further away from there is an F-18. We hope to have it on display sometime earlier this summer.
Here we can see the main car at the entrance and another Wabash caboose. According to the guy who was in the train, the Wabash was the only railroad to build their own cabooses. This is 2847. After the train made its 2 laps around the museum, we got off and headed back to the car to grab my custom Trackmaster Big Boy to take a picture of him in front of the actual Big Boy. And while we were there, we saw the train again. While we were doing that, my brother was still inside the main building, and since he was the plane guy, he took a lot of pictures of the aircraft models around the area. Here you can see a Boeing 707. Here's another picture. Here you can see the tram, a fighter jet. Oh, here's another DC-10, this one in the American Airlines livery. As you can tell, I have no idea how to identify this plane because it's incredibly basic. Oh, a train. This is a Southern Pacific GS4, number 4449, and it's in, I think that's O gauge? There's this whole exhibit on the Air Force One. The Wall of McDonnell Douglas. Hey, I don't know what plane that is. Hey, I don't know what plane that is. Hey, that's that one plane I saw earlier. Hey, I don't know. Wait, what the heck is that? Hey, I don't know what planes those are. Anyways, while he was doing that, I was making my way towards Big Boy and definitely did not slide underneath the fence as a shortcut. Once I arrived, I finally got to take my second photo montage of Big Boy in front of a Big Boy. However, this one's more significant because the initial model I made of Big Boy was numbered 4006. I even peeled off the tape showing the number 1 to reveal the old 4006 number hidden underneath for the photos.
Up and over Sherman, passing the mountains of Utah. This giant locomotive can easily climb them all. Overland through Green River, Cheyenne to Laramie. Big Boy going down the track's a real sight to see. Big boy, see the driving wheels are pounding on a big boy. Big boy, through the plains of Wyoming rides a big boy. Hear the distant whistle blowing of a big boy.
inside out. Big boy has got mini big boy inside his brain. Oh no!
Then I took a second picture of that phony because I thought I hadn't taken one before because I was dumb. Now, it was time to leave the museum. We headed down to the car, and while we were leaving, we drove over to get a better picture of that F-18. Well, actually, my brother just wanted to do that, but then again, I forced him to take a picture of the Amtrak, so I guess we're even now.
Okay, here we... Oh, there's the train. You can see it. But anyways, we are leaving the National Museum of Transportation now. Taking this last view of the sights of the grounds and the Aero train, because this will be the last I'll probably ever see at the Transportation Museum. No, I said this at the end of the Steamtown video, but probably won't be back here for a very, very long time. So, taking this last view. There's the Wabash caboose that looks like it should be Frisco for some reason. Clunk over the railroad crossing. Whoa! And just like that, we're saying goodbye to the Transportation Museum.
We decided to take a different route back, passing through Indianapolis. But this different route did allow us to get better views of the Arch, which is, you know, like the main St. Louis thing. Like, it's the thing you think of when you think of St. Louis. So this was very nice.
Stuart, you don't see too much.
I mean, good thing I got some nice photos of it on the original St. Louis trip. Whoa!
Basically where we were yesterday.
There's the Arch. Slightly better shot of it. Oh, never mind.
Okay, so 291.
There's the Arch. Slightly better shot. Icon of St. Louis.
298 BC.
Oh, never mind about not getting a good shot, I guess. Here it is. St. Louis Arch.
That's right there.
Wow. Just wow. Can't imagine the city without the Arch. There it is. Massive. Remarkable.
But our new route did have one downside. We headed onto I-57, which has exactly nothing interesting on it. Nothing. So, yeah, we all started to go kinda insane. So, I'm just gonna let these next couple of clips play, and you can make up your mind on what's actually going on.
Down there, you can't see that. Look, that's, there they are. There's Genesee and Wyoming engines down there. What are they doing down there? Look, there's a Death Star. Leading that train. There's a CN, and then a Death Star. Whoa. Another train. There's two CN Jeeps at the helm. At least these ones aren't rare, unlike the Death Star. I mean, no, those aren't Jeeps. Those aren't Jeeps. I'm dumb. Those are Dash 9s. But yeah, those are.
Two engines with that?
Yeah, just two. Actually, that looks like a Dash 8. No way, that's a Dash 8. No, that's not a Dash 8. No, it's just Dash 9. Leader's Jevo. Okay. Yeah, Dash 8s are rare. Leader's Jevo, second is Dash 9. Grain elevator! Does not know what a grain elevator is. This is not. There it is! Grain elevator number 7! Probably.
I think I know what it is.
Grain elevator! Grain elevator! Grain elevator! What? Water tower? Silence? The grain elevator?
Number 1 is for random bees. What's random Except number 1. Sign that says random birds. 1 for me. Blue house. 1 for me.
It's 7 p.m. And we finally arrived at Red Robin to eat dinner.
Oh, thank God.
Okay, we're leaving Red Robin right now. Just filming because it's getting really late, and I might not be able to film any of the more interesting stuff later on. So yeah, almost finished. We're passing underneath the Pennsy Bridge. You can't see it, but it's the Pennsy Bridge, the Pennsylvania River Bridge. Okay.
Because the way you pronounced it, it does not sound right.
We're almost home.
Oh my gosh. Like, I love vacation, but I am ready to be home.
Yeah, same.
I forgot what home looked like.
We've only been gone for 3 days.
We've been gone. I was gone for 4.
And, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, even if it was pretty mediocre by my standards. Anyways, thanks for watching, and make sure to come back for another vlog just like this one.